Good morning. Beginning of day 48. Just sitting here having some breakfast before we leave the hostel. It was a nice quiet place to stay. Pretty nice. We got resupplied. I got a little bit of a haircut, cleaned up, laundry done, food organized, packs done, rested up. It's raining this morning a little bit. It's supposed to rain for the next about 3 or 4 hours. So we'll be starting in the rain this morning probably. But other than that, we've got a pretty big day. We've got a 12-mile day today. Plus it's like another mile to the beginning of the trail from here. So it'll be pretty long. There's a big climb, about a 2,000-foot climb getting out of town. But then on the other side, it goes down 2,000 feet. So on the map, it looks like a pyramid. You're going up and then down the other side. And then we'll have some, I think we'll be by a lake later on today. So I'm gonna finish eating, get stuff loaded up, we'll get out and I'll show you pictures along the way. Hey everybody, we are back at the trailhead. Ben, the caretaker, owner of the hostel, he was nice enough to bring us down here. That was great. It saved us having to walk about a mile. So we're gonna get started here and I'll show you any scenes as we go along. Well, we've made it about halfway up our big climb for today, and this is the big viewpoint they give us. Of course, we're up kind of in the fog and the clouds, so there's no view. But if there was, I bet it would be a good one. We're nearing the top of, I think this is called Pond Mtn. We're getting close to the top anyway, within about a quarter mile or less. Hey everybody, we made it to the top. There were once again no views and it was just all fog up there. So there was a spring, so we did get some water up there and had some lunch. Now we're coming down the other side. We're most of the way down. It's about 1,500 or 2,000 foot descent down. And I gotta tell you guys about something's got me a little worried. My knees have been bothering me since the beginning. I just have bad knees, but I've been kind of grin and bear it. I have compression sleeves on both knees. And I've been taking, not aspirin, but like ibuprofen and stuff to keep the swelling down and the pain away and kind of making it work, kind of brushing it aside, ignoring it. Well, a couple days ago, coming down into the town where we took the zero, it kind of went to another level. I didn't really say anything or whatever. I figured, well, I'll just brush it aside. And it was pretty painful, like another tendon or something pulling. Anyway, so got into town. We took 2 nights off. That way there was 1 day with no hiking and I could relax. And I'm like, well, this will help. You know, that's what just all it needs. Well, today's the first day back out hiking. And once I come over the top, I knew that it's not any better. I'm trying to kind of push through. I think my plan at this point, I'm about 4 days from 4 or 5 days, probably 4 days from Damascus. I'm gonna check and see if there's any kind of an urgent care or sports medicine place there or somewhere I can go and have it looked at. I'm sure what they're gonna say is it's overuse. You need to put ice, you know, what is that? The rest, ice, compress, elevate. And I'm sure they're gonna say you gotta do that for a week. Which I'll do if that's what they need me to do. But I'm kind of getting into a situation where if I go slow enough that I can do it, and my knee is healthy enough. If I go the rate that my knee tells me to go, I'm not going to make it to Katahdin on time. If I go faster, so I can make it to Katahdin on time, my knee won't make it. So it's kind of a catch-22 right now. Maybe it's just a bad day. It's kind of cold and miserable out here, and it's got me kind of upset. But that's kind of what I'm up against. I just wanted, you know, like I told you, the good, the bad, the ugly. And this is kind of one of the ugly things that sometimes happens. So anyway, got me a little worried, but I think it'll be okay. I think it's just maybe a bad day. But I'm gonna try and take my time the next few days. The terrain is a lot better than this thing I just came down, or still coming down. So I'm hoping that with that'll help. And I'll see how it's doing, but I think I do need to have someone look at it probably, even though I know pretty much what they're going to tell me. But I think I would feel better if, you know, a professional looked at it and told me what was wrong. So anyway, that's where we're at. I just wanted everybody to know, because I want to be honest with you guys. So anyway, we're going to get on down the trail, and I'll give you updates on that. I haven't really said much about it, because I figured I'd just brush it aside, but I'm starting to wonder. Oh, you got me a little worried now. So anyway, I'll show you more scenes along the way as we go. And the trail comes right down here on Watauga Lake. Kind of nice looking lake. Picnic areas and stuff down here. This is the area around the dam for Watauga Lake. And I guess the dam is like an earthen dam. And then the Appalachian Trail actually crosses the dam here. All set up in the campsite tonight. We're just camped by a little spring. Probably can't see my bear hang bag in the tree over there. Probably can't see that at all. Anyway, we ended up doing about 13 miles today, which was longer than I really wanted to do. We got to a good camp area, but there was no water, so we had to go another 3 miles and up about another 1,100 feet to find this place, which had a spring. Well, it was on the map, so we knew it was here. But anyway, it's cold and kind of breezy. My knee did okay today. That one first big down was just really, really rough on it. I am planning on, when I get to Damascus in 3 or 4 days, I'm going to have someone look at it, make sure I'm not doing any permanent damage to it. It's kind of worrisome, a little disappointing, but I think it'll be okay. I'm just gonna have to have that checked out. I mean, that's part of the deal out here. Things hurt, and sometimes when they hurt beyond a certain point, it's kind of like, okay, it's time to have that checked out. But anyway, did quite a bit of climbing today. We looked at Watauga Lake, I think is how you pronounce that. Went across the dam there. I think I showed you that. Right now, we're just camped in a little bit of a valley, even though we're up pretty high up here. I would say, I don't really know, maybe close to 5,000 feet, but we're in a little bit of a valley, so the wind is not as bad here. If you look up at the tops of the trees, sometimes those wind gusts are roaring up there. The low tonight's supposed to be mid-30s, I think, or 38. So kind of a chilly night, but I'm set up where I can sleep pretty warm. Maybe I could show you my sleep system, what I do, and just kind of so you're familiar with it. I'm not sure, how many people are familiar with, what we typically bring when we go backpacking and what's light and what we use. So I might show you that this evening. But other than that, we'll wrap up day 48 on trail. So we'll talk to y'all later. Okay, I'll kind of show you the sleep system that I do. First, I start with this thin foam pad that I put underneath my Neo Air X-Lite, I believe it's called, air pad. The air pad is really comfortable. I put this under to protect it more than anything. One thing I've learned to do, if you're pitched on the side of a hill, I also sometimes will put my shoes under the edges of it. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm sorry, it's kind of close quarters. And that kind of keeps me from sliding this way because it's kind of sloped ground. It kind of gives me an indention there to sleep in. Anyway, then on top of that, I also have a blow-up pillow. This is one of my luxury items. It's a little blow-up pillow. It has a strap on it that straps around the bottom of the air mattress. That keeps it from sliding off in the middle of the night, which is what normally happens. Then for my sleeping bag, I have this Z-Packs 10-degree sleeping bag. It's 3/4 zip, so it unzips most of the way. And it's really warm. Then I have a liner. So I kind of get, it's hard to show you, I'm sorry, it's close quarters, but you kind of get in the liner, zip it up, then you stick your feet down in the sleeping bag, and then you zip up the sleeping bag. This serves for a little extra warmth, and actually one of the main purposes is to keep your sleeping bag clean. Because this is down, you don't want to be washing it all the time. In fact, you don't really want to wash it at all if you can help it. So because you're not always the cleanest when you get in at night, this also kind of is a bag that keeps your sleeping bag clean. So that's what I do. And then as far as when it's cold, I also have long sleeve wool, merino wool top. I have a bottom that's warm. It's also wool. I also have these puffy fuzzy socks, I call them, woolly socks. They aren't real great for hiking, but for sleeping in, they're nice and warm. Now that setup will keep me warm below freezing, no problem at all. If it's real windy or if it is like mid-20s, lower 20s, then sometimes I'll wear my jeans with me to bed on top of all this, and I'll often wear my puffy jacket on top of all that, and with the hood up. Oh, and I also have one other thing. Keeps my head warm at night. It's up here in this mess. It's a possum down, I think it's called. It's also from Z-Packs, and it's a beanie. And that's a lifesaver. That keeps your head nice and warm at night. So anyway, that's kind of my setup. That's the way I do it. It works good. I've kind of learned over the weeks and all the time I've been out here, like for what temperature it is, how many clothings I need to wear, what I need to wear at night to stay warm. I also have, if it gets down in the lower 20s, I also have some hand warmers that I will open up and throw down in the sleeping bag, and that really helps too to keep me warm. But for the most part, I sleep warm. I sleep good in the tent. It's not too bad. I also, getting up in the morning is rough. That's always rough. Getting up in the morning when it's 25 and you got to get undressed to get redressed into your hiking clothes, that's rough. But other than that, I sleep fine in this. So anyway, that's kind of my sleep system. Everybody's probably a little different, but that's what I do.